My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And 18 years ago, we started this journey telling people the truth about how loans actually work. The truth is, ladies and gentlemen, that borrowing money has a cost. And that cost is so high, the only way that it can continue is if we're conditioned to ignore how much it actually costs, and that if you don't understand the rules, you don't know that you are in charge of how much you pay for your money. Oh my goodness. So I got Lakita in here in Clubhouse from Louisville, Kentucky. That's right up the road from Huntsville. It doesn't take me no time to get to Louisville. Umberto says, morning, great. Tuskegee, Alabama, right here in Alabama, right here with me in Huntsville. Come on now, Umberto. How about that? All right. So what have I got? Who do we have online? Who do they have online? So tell us where you're from. Even if you listen, even if you're listening to the replay on, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, doesn't matter. Tell us where you're from, whether it's live or whether it's Memorex. Are you listening to the replay this morning? Go ahead and let's talk to each other. So listen, if you have any questions about what we're going to be talking about, go ahead, ask your question. The other thing I'm going to ask you to do is this. Raise your hand and come to the stage. When you come to the stage, just like Steve just did, okay? Steve is always working. Steve is always doing something. But when he comes to the stage, everybody that follows him gets notified so that they can come in and get this information as well. Good morning, Steve. How are you, sir?
All right, yourself. Thanks for having me on the platform. On my way to the gym.
On his way to the gym. So he's going to be listening in. But while he's listening, he's on the stage. And we're populating the stage so that the algorithm from Clubhouse will pick that up and send it out to his 445 followers. Okay? So if you have followers, like Julia, all right, like Julia does. So raise your hand, come to the stage, and then sit on the stage and take in this information. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump right into this thing today. Oh, I got to put my link to the top. Let me do that right now. It is ice10k.com. Ice, the number 10, the letter K.com. All right. That is my digital business card, And you can get a lot of information from there, especially if you want to know the month, day, and year you want to be debt free. So some of you like the idea of getting out of debt in 7 years. Yeah, about 7 years. I mean, not just the mortgage, but the credit cards, the car loans, the personal loans, the student loans. Everything in about 7 years. And how can we do that without having to make more money? What we're going to learn is the amount of interest we're being charged because of how amortization actually works. We're paying 75% more than we need to pay. So we're going to be talking about the smart mortgage today, meaning how many of you have heard about smart phones? Okay. What's a smartphone? What makes a smartphone smart? A smart television. What makes a smart television smart? Have you heard of smart homes? What makes these inanimate devices, what makes them smart? Okay. I need to know. I need to know if you know what makes something smart. Smart TV, smart home, smart phone. All right. Smart car. Smart house, whatever it is, what makes it smart? Do you know? Do you know? Come on, talk to me this morning. Put it in the chat. Or good morning, Miss Stacy. How are you doing? All right. All right. And let's see. Did I say hi to Rhonda? Did I say hi to Mr. Johnson. If I didn't, I want to say hi to you guys. All right. And we have people online this morning. If you are watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, put something in the comment section to say hello and tell us where you're from this morning. So, all right. So Steve says it's the algorithm. All right. Well, listen, what makes these a smartphone smart is that it's actually a computer plugged into the internet. Okay. That's what makes it smart. Your TV has a computer in it. Your washing machine and your dryer now has a computer in it. It makes it smart. The technology behind it. That's what we're talking about, Miss Rhonda Patterson. The technology behind it. Okay? That's what makes it smart. Now, if everything in your house is smart, I mean, listen, I have a robot vacuum cleaner. How many of you have a robot vacuum cleaner? Okay? That's smart technology. So in 19, Max says the capabilities connect within its own network. There you go, my brother. There you go. Now you're breaking it down. So here's what I need you to know. With all of this smart technology, all of the good morning, Facebook user Shirley McCormick from Huntsville, Alabama. Look here, right here in Huntsville. Come on, Miss Shirley. I love it. Will you all share this information with your networks? Share it with your This is why I love this type of thing. Go ahead, share this room. If you're in Clubhouse, share the room. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, share this show with your network right now. So because they want to get in here. We're talking about the smart mortgage today and how the smart mortgage can pay you off. Now, here's what I'm going to lean in. I'm leaning in now. When it comes to borrowing money, here's what the bank wants to do. They want to make it as inefficient as possible. What? Yeah, inefficient. What is the energy that drives lending money? What is the fuel that drives lending money? Folks, it's the interest. If banks weren't getting interest, there would not be banks. There would not be a business. There would not be an industry. There's a lending industry, okay, out there. And what they're hoping is that you never learn how they do it. All right. I need you to put a number 9 in the chat if this is true. Put a number 9 in the chat if this is true. I never have received any classes on amortization and how banks make their money. If that's true, put a number 9 in the chat. I've never received any education on how loans actually work. If that's true, put a number 9 in the chat. Lakita says number 9. I've never received any education on it, but we're expected to use them. We're expected to use them, and we're paying interest because we think that's the way it should be done. It's always been done this way. It's always been done this way. So we're going to pay back the loan like the bank wants us to. So if I'm in banking, okay, here's my question. Do I want to make as much as I can for as long as I can? If I'm the bank, do I want to make as much as I can for as long as I can? If that's true, put a Y or a yes in the chat. I want to make as much as I can for as long as I can. Is that what they're doing? So folks, if there's a way to pay less, money to borrow money, do you think the people in banking want you to know about it? But Don, there's already things that we can do. We can refinance, and we can make biweekly payments, and we can certainly pay extra on our loans. We can make sure that on our credit cards, we don't just pay the minimum payment, we can pay more on our minimum payment. And that way we save interest and we save time. All right. Is that what you know to do? All right. Is that what you know to do? You can refinance. You've been taught that. What else have you been taught? You've been taught that you can round up your payments. You could do biweekly payments on a mortgage. So there are things you have been taught to do. Oh, instead of getting a 30-year mortgage, you can get a 15-year mortgage. That will cause you to pay less interest. That's one thing. But guess what, folks? All of these things, the bank supports them. The bank teaches them. Your lending institution teaches you. They teach you these things. Can I trust? And you put a yes or a no in the chat right now. Can I trust the education about how loans work? Can I trust that from the people that are actually lending me the money? Yes or no? Can I trust the information coming from the banking industry telling me how to save money? Can I trust it? You see, because right now, some of you have mortgages right now, and you're getting notices that you can refinance, all right, and save money. You can refinance, even though the interest rates are actually higher. You can refinance, and maybe, okay, here's one way. I can consolidate my debt. I can take these high interest loans, 15, 10, 25, 27%. I can take these high interest loans and take equity out of my house and pay them off and lower my payments by $500 to $1,000 a month. Have you heard that one? Have you heard that one? Banks offer that. So ladies and gentlemen, I just need to ask you one question. If a bank offers me a way to save money, who has to be losing money? Put it in the chat. If a bank offers me a way to save money, who has to be losing money? Put it in the chat right now. Come up to the stage and talk to me. Okay. All right. I know it's ultimately you, Steve, but if the statement is true, all right, if the statement is true, if I'm saving money, if I'm really saving money, who has to be losing it? If a bank is offering me a way to save money, if I'm really saving, who has to be really losing? All right. I need you all to put it in the chat. Go ahead, Steve. Talk to me.
No, I was just going to say I am the consumer, the borrower.
No. Listen to the question. If I'm really saving money, who has to be losing money? I can't lose and save at the same time. Okay. So if the bank is offering me a way to save money, who has to be losing money? Are you hearing me, Steve?
Yeah, I still say me.
There's two sides of a transaction. Okay.
Right.
There's a winner and a loser. If I'm winning,
And I'm losing.
If I'm winning, I can't also be losing. Steve, is that true?
True. I'm the one that's losing, though.
I understand that. That's not what I'm asking you. That's not what I'm asking you. If I'm really winning, who has to be losing if I'm really winning? It's hard to say, isn't it? You can't. Elizabeth.
So you're trying to say it's the bank?
Yes, I'm trying to say it's the bank. Exactly. If I'm winning, the bank has to be losing. Then so what you're saying is the bank isn't really losing, then how can I really be winning? That's what you're trying to say.
Exactly.
Because the bank would never, thank you, Miss Elizabeth Alston, coming in here, listening to us she's watching us on YouTube. So think about it, folks. We got to start asking good questions. You know, I get calls all the time. I got an offer to refinance. Should I take it? Because it's going to lower my payment. It's going to do this. I'm only taught to look in one direction. Okay. You guess what? When it comes to looking at these numbers, when it comes to looking at what I'm learning about refinancing or whatever offer the bank is giving me or my credit union is giving me, that sounds like I'm saving money. Guess what I'm not doing? I'm not trying to figure out what's in it for the bank. I need to start figuring out what's in it for the bank. You need to start asking your question. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, your bank has you at a higher interest rate and making big interest payments to them. And then they'll turn around when interest rates are at a 7% interest rate right now. If you buy a house, they will drop. Sharon M. Jones says the bank is losing. You got that right. The bank. It would be the bank. If interest rates are at 7, and when interest rates drop to 5, and they will drop to 5 eventually, they will get down to 5. Your bank that has you at 7 is going to offer you a refinance. And you're going to say, if I got a 7 and I get a 5% loan, then I'm going to be saving money. Here's my question. Why would your bank, who has you at a 7% interest rate, raking in all that cash, why would they offer you a 5% loan? Your bank that has you at the 7, why would they ever offer you a 5? Come in, refinance, save money. Why would they do that? Have you ever thought about that? Has that ever crossed your mind why your own bank would do that? Ladies and gentlemen, we have to start asking good questions and figuring out what is this thing really, what is the real cost here? The interest cost here. Let me break down some things for you right now. The average family has 13 different debts. Just count them up. All right. I'm talking about well-to-do families. If you're college educated, chances are you could have some loans. What if you have 3 student loans each? Married couple, 3 student loans each. It's going to be more, but what if it's just 3 each? That's 6 loans right there, isn't it? That's 6. What if you have a car? Both of you have a car because, you both of you work. All right. So you start out with 6, got 2 cars. That's 8 already. And what if you moved into a house and you got a mortgage? Oh, that's 9. Got 9. And you put up a new fence around the house. All right. That's 10. and you're at 10 already, and you both have 3 credit cards each. Oh, that's 16. That's another 6. That's 16. So listen, folks, it's not hard to get up to the average 13 different debts. Now, here's what I need you to do. If you have an opportunity, in my book, I talk about this. It's called interest consumption. Interest consumption. How much interest are you consuming each month? If you would take all of your statements that come in the month of July and just add up how much interest you paid on each one of your loans. Just add it up. And then I want to take you to do is compare that amount of money with your take-home pay. How much of your take-home pay is paid on interest alone? The average family pays 35% of their take-home pay just on interest alone. 35% of your take-home pay. How is it that we're able to do that and not even realize it? Because we're taught not to look at it. We're taught not to look at it. So what if there's a system now? What if there's a system now that's going to help us plug a computer into our finances? We have got a robot that cleans our house. We have a robot in the we've got computers in our cars. There's about 300 different computers in your car. We have smartphones, we have tablets, we have laptops, we have desktop computers all around us now. Listen, we have so much technology around us. It is not funny. Our phones are smart. Our TVs are smart. Even our washing machines are smart. You know, they got rid of that little button on your washing machine that says high, medium, and low water. Did you know that the washing machine now weighs how much the clothes weigh that you put in, and it automatically knows how much water to put in? Come on, folks. There's so much technology around us, but when it comes to lending, we're analog all the way. We're back to pencil and paper and a dime store calculator. That's all we have to try to figure this thing out, to try to beat the bank at their own game. And they're giving us heuristics or rules of thumb to think we are saving money, when in fact, they're charging us 75% more than we need to pay. What in the world is going on with this situation? I'm going to be pulling up some things here. I need you to see some things. I got a little PowerPoint. Now, if you want to see this, you want to go to check out my YouTube channel. Okay, go to a YouTube channel. Kurt is I love it, Kurt. He's changing the view for us. All right, go to YouTube. All right, go to YouTube, and on a different device, and then you can search for P.I.L.L method, and you can see what I'm getting ready to put on the screen. I need you to see what is really going on with these loans. So let me see where this is actually going to show up. All right. So I'm going to turn this on, and I gotta see what screen. I never know which screen it's going to be on. All right, there it is. I've just found out. Okay, so let me shut this down. All right, and let me pull this over. Let me pull this over here. Let me see if it makes a difference. Okay, boom. Nope, didn't make a difference. Still going to the other screen. All right, so let me do this. I'm gonna have to switch screens that I'm showing here, and we're gonna do that. All right, so I'm going to switch screens here, and let's see, stop the screen sharing and do the screen share, and then switch screens here. There we go. Boom. All right, I need you all to see this. Here's what we're talking about. All right, go ahead, Kurt, and share this out. There we go. Boom. There it is. All right. So I hope you're seeing it, Kurt, because I can't tell because my screen is blocked.
We're seeing you.
Got it? Okay. So here's a $500,000 mortgage, ladies and gentlemen, at 3%. You can't even get 3% now. Okay. And so we're going to break that down. Here's how much interest the bank wants on this thing: $258,000. $258,000 at 3%. So the total paid back on this loan, the real cost of this home, is the $500,000 you borrowed and the $258,000 in interest you pay back, for a total of $758,887. That's a lot of money. That really means that the total interest paid, when you compare it to the percentage of the principal, is actually 51.777%. 3% really means 51%. So 3% ain't 3% when it comes to borrowing this money, is it? All right. So let's take a look at when we break that thing down. Let's go here. I need you to take a look at this. $500,000 at 4% means the bank wants $359,000 in interest. That makes it a 71% loan, almost 72. Why aren't we being taught this? And even at the college level, this isn't even taught in high school. When we're learning how to manage our bank accounts or checkbooks, or how to just do simple counting of our money, budgeting, we're learning how to budget, but we're not learning what the bank is doing on the back end, making sure that they make as much money as they can for as long as they can by keeping us in the dark as to how this really works. Okay, 5%, 93%. They want $466,000 interest on a $500,000 loan. Folks, by the time I'm done, that's $966,000 all day. $966,000 I'm paying for a $500,000 loan. So let me ask you, do you want to pay that kind of money for a house? Let's wake it up today. Let's wake it up in here today. Okay? Let's find out the truth of the matter. At 6%, the bank wants $579,190 interest on a $500,000 loan. That is more interest than the money I borrowed. They want more in interest than the money I borrowed. They want me to pay $1 million, $1,079,000 to buy a $500,000 home. How in the world do they get away with that? How in the world do they, how expert do they have to be to make sure we're not paying attention to this? How much interest we're actually paying. And at 7%, do you know that a mortgage is over 7% right now? You get a mortgage today at 7%. On $500,000, they want $697,000 just in interest alone. Latanya, how are you doing this morning? Zoe, I see you. Jeffrey, you're in here. Wanda, you came to visit. Rhonda, we got Tyson that just came in. Coach is here. Howard's still here. We got KAA at the bottom and Darby. If you want to see what I'm talking about, because you can't see the numbers right now, I'm showing the numbers on YouTube. And you go to YouTube, search for P.I.L.L method, P-I-L-L method, and join the live. You can see this. Just bring it up on your second phone or your tablet or your laptop computer. You can see these numbers. They're outrageous. They are outrageous. Let me see what Rhonda has to say here. Rhonda Patterson says, I don't think anyone is losing. I think the bank and you are winning. I think that, okay, that's a pretty good take on that. That's a pretty good take. Let me show you what happens, Miss Rhonda. Miss Rhonda, I hope you can see this because I needed you to see this part first. I needed you to see this part first about how much they're actually charging us. So let's just see how, if we refinance, go from 7 to 5, how the bank is losing and how we're winning. Okay. And let's just see, like Miss Rhonda says here, I don't think anyone is losing. I think the bank and you are winning. So let's take a look at this. So I'm going to take this down right now. I just needed you to see this. All right. I'm taking this down and we're looking at an amortization schedule. All right. Here it is. I'm putting in that $500,000 loan. Okay. And right now, I'm putting it in at 7%. Boom. And here is my payment, $3,326.51. We're looking at what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen, and how the bank is. Horace Jennings coming in says good morning from Virginia. There he is, watching us on YouTube. All right. So here's what we've got, Miss Rhonda. $3,326.51. And here's how my payment breaks down. They want $697,543.60 interest on this loan. That makes it 139.5%. Total interest paid as a percentage of principal. Let's see what they're doing to us. When we make that very first payment, $409.84 goes to pay down the loan. We're paying $2,916.67 in interest. All right. Before the average family refinances, they're in their loan about 5 to 7 years, and then they'll refinance. About 5 to 7 years, on average. Okay. Then they refinance. Let me show you. I need you to see cumulative principal and cumulative interest. So now, when they refinance, let's say they're in this home for 7 years, and I need you to take a look at, in 7 years, they pay their loan down by so much money, and they pay so much money in interest to do it. In the very first year, they pay their home down by $5,079 and a penny. That's the very first one. Okay. And the first year they're going to pay $34,800. What? $34,839 in interest in the first year. They're charging $34,000 just so you can pay your loan down by $5,000. That's a total of, listen, folks, that's almost $40,000 paid out. $40,000 paid out in the first year on the mortgage, but only $5,000 of that money pays down the loan. Now tell me, isn't that ridiculous? Isn't that ridiculous on how that works? If you're new to the room and you want to see these numbers, go to YouTube, search P.I.L.L method. All right. Search P.I.L.L method. And somebody, if somebody's would do that for me and get that link and put it in the chat, okay, for this so people can see it. Oh my goodness. They want to see this. All right. So now what we're doing next, we see what it is for 1 year. Let's go down. That's 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Okay. That's 84 payments. In 84 payments, that is 7 years. And this is when most families will refinance between 5 and 7. They've paid this loan down by $44,000, $44,000. But look at how much interest they've paid in 7 years, $235,000. Do you see how we have been misled? Do you see how we have been taught not to look at the total amount of interest we're paying? We're taught just to look at the interest rate, but not the total amount of interest that we pay. We're not taught interest consumption. With the P.I.L.L method, we're taught how much interest you're actually consuming. Now, if we refinance to 5%, that means that's helping us. So I need to show you one thing first about how amortization actually works to see if the loan is actually helping us. But keep this in mind. In 7 years, they're going to pay $235,000 in interest, pay the loan down by $44,262. That leaves us with a principal balance of $455,737.38. That's the amount they're going to refinance. But first, let me teach you how you can start avoiding some of this interest. All right. So we're going to go back to payment number 1. Okay. If I make my payment on my very first payment here, where $409 goes to, thank you, Miss Rhonda. I appreciate you. Miss Rhonda, if you're in Clubhouse and you want to see this, Miss Rhonda put the link in the chat. Thank you, Miss Rhonda. We appreciate you. Okay. We appreciate you. All right. Miss Rhonda, just because you did that. Miss Rhonda, tell me, do you have my book? Yes or no? Tell me right quick. Do you have my book? Yes or no? I'm looking for it. Oh, you have it. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to send you another one signed by me just because you did that today. Go DM me. Go to my Instagram and send me your address. We'll mail you out a book signed by me. How do you like that? Thank you for helping me today. I appreciate you. All right. So she just put the excuse me. She just put the link in to the YouTube. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Rhonda said, that's cool. All right. So let's take a look at this. $409 goes to principal. In the next month, $412 goes to principal. Now, I've said often enough, you control the principal payment, you control the loan. Control the principal payment and you control the loan. The banks understand this. The people who own the bank understand it, not the people who work in the bank. They don't understand how an amortization schedule works at all. They're not taught by their employers. So if I make my very first payment on this and I can see my principal payment from the amortization schedule, did you realize that if I had it, I'm just showing you something here. This is not the P.I.L.L method. This is understanding how amortization works. If I take the $412.23 and I pay that to the bank on top of my regular payment before the next payment is due. In other words, if my first payment is in January, and if I give the bank any money before February 1st, all of that money goes to principal. So the $412 goes to principal, okay? And the $412 goes to principal. And I'm paid down to line 2 in January, in the first month, because I paid the January payment. They subtracted the $409.84, and now they have to subtract the $412.23 as well. They got to do that because I gave it to them to put on principal. So I'm paid down to line 2 in January. So my next mortgage payment for February is actually on line 3 of the schedule. By doing that, I just wiped out line 2 altogether and I collapsed the amortization schedule. Payment number 1 is now touching payment number 3. Payment number 2 is gone. And the interest cost on line 2, the $2,914.28 is gone as well. I never have to pay that. I just saved $2,900 in interest by paying $412.23 early. Now, I need you to start paying attention to the principal payment when we talk about these things. Control the principal payment, control the loan. I like small principal payments because I can do more damage to the loan with a small principal payment. So if I go ahead, so I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to duplicate this tab. So we're going to first go down to 5, 6, 7 years. Okay. Now remember, I paid this loan down by $44,000. I paid $235,000 in interest already, and now I'm going to refinance $235,000. Do you know there are people who have houses that cost $235,000, and we just paid that? We just paid for another house to the bank in just interest alone. My goodness. And so now we owe $455,000. That's what we're going to refinance. But I need you to take a look at this. The interest payment is $664, which means the next month, if I prepay $668, I get to knock out this interest payment of $2658. Do you see that? $668 extra knocks out a whole payment and saves me $2,600 in interest. Do you see that? Now watch what happens when I refinance. I need you to see this. So we're going to refinance the $455. We're going to copy that. We're going to put it into the amortization schedule. Okay. Going to paste it right in there. We're going to remove the comma because this particular website doesn't like commas in there. And then I'm going to lower the interest rate to 5. I'm going to lower the interest rate to 5. Okay. But don't forget that you're going to pay closing costs on this loan. The average closing costs on a loan, on a refi, is $8,000 to $10,000. But I've seen the closing costs as high as $22,000. Okay. Or higher. But let's put in $10,000. That means we have to add $10,000 to this loan. $455,000 becomes $465,000 when we add $10,000 to it, because that is, we have to account for the closing costs. And they never ask you to pay the closing costs out of pocket. You could, but they never ask you to do that. And there's a reason why they want you to roll it into the loan. There's a reason why. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Okay. So now we're going to recalculate, and now look at this thing. Look at this thing now. I got a $2,500 mortgage payment. Ooh, I used to have a $3,300 mortgage payment, and now I have a $2,500 mortgage payment, and I'm feeling so much better. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the same bank that had you at the higher interest rate, and they offered you the lower interest rate so you can pay $2,500 in a mortgage payment instead of $33,000. Why would they do that? It looks like they're losing money, doesn't it? I guarantee you they're not. Now don't forget that they've already they already have $235,000 of your hard-earned money in just interest alone. They already have that. So let's back this thing up. Let's back it up just a little bit more. Okay. So here's what we're doing. So we're going to take a look at this new loan. All right. And focus here on this, the principal payment. $664. If I come up with an extra $664, I can eliminate one line from my schedule. If I lower the interest rate to where I am now, look at my very first payment. Okay, look at this. 664. Look at what I'm doing now. If I lower this interest rate to 5%, look what I'm doing now. I'm starting the whole thing over again, and I have to give them $434,000 in interest on top of what I was doing before. It's still a 93% loan. I need you to see what happens to the $10,000 I just rolled into this loan. Are you ready? The $10,000 I just rolled in. Okay. Okay. This is the 5% loan. I'm happy to get it. And when I pay back the first $10,000, it takes me 18 months to do it. Do you see how much is going to principal? How much is going to interest? I'm paying back the $10,000 I rolled into the loan. Okay. And not to mention that I've been in the loan 7 years, and they give me a new 30-year loan. Does that really mean I now have a 37-year mortgage? Is that what that means? I was in it 7 years, and now I'm in it. I have a new 30-year loan. Does that mean 37-year loan? And then when I pay back the $10,000, it takes me 18 months. How much interest did we pay on a $10,000 loan to this bank? $34,000. Can I ask you all something? If I came to you and said, I have a deal for you, I'm going to lend you $10,000, because that's exactly what they're doing when they roll the closing costs into the loan. I'm going to lend you $10,000. And when I lend you the $10,000, I want you to pay me 5% interest on it. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. But what happens is it comes out to $34,000 in 18 months. Would you borrow money under those conditions at any time? Borrowing $10,000 for 18 months, put a yes or no in the chat, but you're going to pay $34,565 in interest to do that. Okay. So folks, if you borrow $10,000 and you pay back $10,000 in interest, that's 100% interest. If you borrow $10,000, you pay $20,000 in interest, that's 200% interest. But if you borrow $10,000 and you pay $30,000 in interest, that is a 300% loan all day. Is this what is going on? 300% interest? But we're told it's 5% interest. We're given a payment that we like is $2,500. $2,500. But we're fooled into giving the bank 300% interest. Now, what if we actually take out some cash and pay off $40,000 worth of debt? What if we add another 40 grand to this? Because we're told that we can lower our monthly payments by even more by taking some of those high interest loans and paying those off as well using our equity and taking those 15% loans and those 20% loans and those 27% credit cards. And we're going, remember, the average family has 13 different debts. What if they paid everything off? Boom. And added another $40,000, $50,000 just pay. And listen, my credit cards are down to zero. My cars are paid off. The loan I had for my fence, it's paid off. Everything is paid off because I'm using the equity. Boom. And I'm rolling it into the mortgage now because now I can get it at 5%. Let's add another. Can we add another $50,000 to this thing and see what would happen? So if I'll put the calculator on the screen. So you'll know I'm not making up the numbers. So we have the $455,000 that we're refinancing. We have the $10,000 added in for the closing cost, plus we're going to add in $50,000 because we're consolidating debt. All right. And using the mortgage to do that. So let's put that in. So we have $465,737.38. Boom, there it is. And we're going to add to it $50,000 because we paid off a whole bunch of other debt and lowered our monthly outgoing payments by another $500 to $1,000 a month to give us some more breathing room. And we feel so good about it. Why would a bank ever want you to feel good about it so that you can save money in order for them to lose money? Let me show you what happens here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to put in another $50,000. All right. Plus 50 grand. There it is. That's 5,000. $50,000 equals 515,000. Oops. We started out 7 years ago at 500,000. We're back up to 515,000. And we added on another 30 years. We were in this loan for 7. But we feel good about the fact that we paid off all this other debt and lowered our payments by another $1,000. So now we're going to take that number out and we're going to put in the new number. All right. Put the new number in. Let me move this over here so it stays on my screen. So 515. Oops, that's 550. 515. Come on, Don. 515,000 $737,000. All right. And 515, 737.38. There it is. 0.38. Okay. At 5% now. All right. So that's going to change my payment. Here's what they're teaching you. Okay. My payment is $2768.59, which is less than the 3326 that I had. So I have paid off 50 grand in debt. My payment used to be 33. I paid off 50 grand in debt, lowered my payments by over $1,000, and I don't have any of these other bills. And now my new payment on everything is $2768.59. I feel so good about it because I paid off that high interest debt and I turned it into 5% debt. Is that what's happening? Well, watch what happens when we try to pay that back. Remember where we were at 7 years on this thing? We're at 664 as a principal payment. Look at our principal payment now. Okay. We're back at 619. We're back at 619. Man. So now I have to pay back the $50,000 in debt. All right, I got the $10,000. So it's a total of $60,000 added to here, but my payment is lower. I added $60,000, but my payment is lower. So I'm not looking at what it cost me. I'm not looking at the cost of borrowing this money. By the time I pay back $60,000 to get back to where I was, remember, I was at $455,000. How long is it going to take me to get back to $455,000 at 5% interest? Okay, 455,000. Let's look over here. 455,000. Boom, it's right there. I just paid back $60,000 in debt. It takes me almost 7 years. Almost 7 years to get back to where I was before I refinanced. But the refinance to pay off all of that debt, remember I was telling you that the highest debt I had was 27%, the highest interest rate. Well, I got $60,000 in debt, but I paid $166,000 in interest to pay off that 60 grand. And it took me almost 7 years to get back to where I was. Folks, how is that beneficial to me? So now I've got, if I pay back $60,000 in interest, that's 100% loan. If I pay back $120,000 in interest, that's a 200% loan on this 60 grand, but I paid $166,000. Okay, that's let's see, 120. That's 240%. 200. I've taken that 27% credit card, and I turned all of this into a 240% loan inside the mortgage, where the bank made me feel as if I was saving money, so that they can make this kind of money and put me into a 37-year loan instead of just the 30-year loan I had, because I was in 7 years, which means on a 30-year loan, which means I had 23 years left when I refinanced. 23 years left, and now I'm back to a total of 37 years to pay off. Do you all want to know what to do about this? Do you want to now see what we can do about all of this so that we can save money, get out of debt faster, get out of debt cheaper, using some smart technology? Let's plug a computer into your loans. Okay, let's get some smart technology in here and get a smart mortgage that's going to help us do what we need to do. All right. So let me pull something up here so that we can stop making these mistakes. Does anybody have any comments about this? Let me, you know what? I haven't checked in a while to see if anybody raised their hand and see if they want to come to the stage. Does anybody want to raise their hand and ask any questions at all? I'm looking on Clubhouse. I'm not seeing any hands come up. All right. All right. We're good. So let's take a look at this thing. I'm going to put our opportunity cost calculator on the screen. Okay. And while that's coming up, Kurt, I think we're at the top of the hour here. I think it's a good time. I think it's a good time to talk about, because I gave away a book. All right. Let's go ahead and put the book on the screen. And thank you, Miss Rhonda. Miss Rhonda's going to get a book, and we're going to send that out to her if she remembers to DM me on my Instagram. And then give me her address. We'll send that book out to you, signed by me. Okay, to Miss Rhonda from Don Daniel. All right. So, this is this been a #1 bestseller on Amazon at least 6 different times. It is the only book out of 33 million titles on Amazon that teaches you what we're learning today: how to look at your loans differently, how to understand how much interest you're paying, and how you should get tools to help you not pay all of that interest. We need tools, but we need a different mindset. The book is about mindset. It's not about a 1, 2, 3. Here's what you do. You do this in this month. No, because everybody's different. You need our computer system that treats you like an individual, that's going to help you to do what you need to do to save a lot of money. Okay, you need to do what you need to do to save money. All right. So the book points you in the right direction and tells you what tools to get. So if you want to know the month, day, and year you could be debt free, go to ice10k.com. Go to ice10k.com and get a savings and earnings report. Okay. When you put your phone number in, make sure your cell phone number in, make sure you're putting it in. Don't have any spaces. We're supplying you the +1. So make sure there's no dots, no dashes, and put your cell phone number right next to that 1, and then click confirm. And then we'll send you a code, and then you can confirm your cell phone number. We'll know you're a human being. And then click on I want to save. Yes, I want to save. Click on that. When you click on yes, I want to save, let's go ahead and change that on the screen. Yes, I want to save. And then once we click on that, ladies and gentlemen, then we'll let you into our financial form. Fill that out, and then our team will get that, and then you'll know the month, day, and year you could be debt free. All right. So the other thing that we're doing is we have the most lucrative referral plan that I've ever heard of. You can become an affiliate with a P.I.L.L method and make anywhere from $300 to $3,000 a month referring people to us that have at least $100,000 in debt. If they have at least $100,000 in debt, send them our way. At least $100,000 in debt, send them our way. And you don't have to sell anything. Just point them to the YouTube channel. Let them watch a few videos, call them back in no more than 2 days. All right. And if they're interested in learning more, all right, go to ice10k.com, become an affiliate. And then when they want to know more, go back to the same card, the ice10k.com, and then refer a friend. Find the button that says refer a friend. You fill it out, put your name in and your phone number in as the one who referred them. And when they become a client, $300. All right. So, I forgot. I need to shout out another person. All right. I need to shout out another person. Let me see here. What is her name? Because not only did she send us a referral, and got paid, all right, she sent us a second one and got paid. Miss Sharon Jones. Miss Sharon Jones, you sent us another referral that became a client. You have another $300 coming your way. Come on, Miss Sharon. Keep up the good work. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Miss Sharon Jones, she's watching us right now on YouTube. All right. She's watching us right now on YouTube. So another person she's referred to us has become a client. Thank you, Miss Sharon. Keep up the good work. Now, it was in a different month, so it's $300. But if it was two people in the same month, the first one is worth $300. The second one is worth $400 if it's in the same month. If you send us a third one in the same month, we're going to give you $500 for that one. If you send us a fourth one in the same month and then become a client, we'll pay you $600 for that one. You send us a fifth one in the same month, we'll pay you $1,200 for that one. That's a total of $3,000 in 1 month. Okay, that's what we're talking about. That's the most lucrative referral program on the planet. She says, Miss Sharon Jones, let's highlight her. She says, I love it. She says, thank you, Don. Listen, why are you thanking me? We're thanking you. I would never have met this person if you hadn't introduced us. And they're thanking you as well because you were conscientious enough to share this good information with them. So thank you, Miss Sharon M. Jones. We're going to put that on the screen right there. Boom. There you are. She says, I love it. Thank you, Don. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to, I'm going to put this on the screen now. All right. We are looking at, I'm going to put on our opportunity cost calculator and turn this mortgage into a smart mortgage. What do I mean by smart mortgage? I mean that we're going to be paying back the least amount of interest that's mathematically possible when we put it up. Look at you, Kurt. Don't you just love Kurt giving you different looks of what we're doing here in the studio? Come on, Kurt. I love it. So let's go ahead and get this up. Pull up the P.I.L.L method demo. I have a demo on this thing. And so we're going to pull it over for you so that you can see what's going on. So we're going to pull this over here and put it in this spot. Boom, there it is. So this is our opportunity cost calculator, ladies and gentlemen. And Kurt's going to put that on the screen. And so I'm going to reset the account. And it's going to be amazing as to what this thing actually does. Now, here's what you want to know. We're not just paying any old amount to the debt. What we're doing is optimizing every single penny that you have. And the amount that we're putting on the debt is the least amount that, this is John and Rebecca Jones, the least amount they can put on the debt that's going to save them the most in interest per dollar. Every dollar means something. You can save some interest, you can save a lot of interest, or you can save the absolute most interest you can for you per dollar. Now, what do you want? When we pay extra on these loans, you realize we're saving interest, but they never tell us how much. So if you can't measure it, if you don't have a measurement, if you don't have a baseline, how do you know how do you know you couldn't have saved more money in interest per dollar if you just did something different? Okay. Miss Ashley Steele says, everyone should know this. Come on, Miss Ashley. I need you to share this out to your people. Oh, listen, will you all do me another favor? Kurt's going to put it on the screen. You need to subscribe to, look at you, Kurt. Kurt said, before I even called, he answered. Subscribe, ladies and gentlemen, to the YouTube channel and share this information out with everybody. Share this out with everybody. So I'm going to show you how math can help you when you are doing this thing, so the banks can stop taking advantage of you. Listen, you have to fight fire with fire. Okay. So we're going to put John and Rebecca Jones on here. We're going to reset the program, and I'm going to show you something that is amazing. Okay. And when math works for you, all right, and when you can do thousands, hundreds of thousands of calculations in just a few seconds, so that you can know exactly what to do and when, all of that matters. You see, when you have variables, okay, when you have variables, meaning I can put, I can put any amount on the debt. I could put extra penny on. I have $10 I can round up. I have 13 different debts. So which one do I put that money on? But what if I have $1,000? What if I have $500? So you have so many choices here, ladies and gentlemen. What is the right amount? What is the right month to focus on? What is the right day of the month to focus on? All right. So listen, you know what I got too many. I got like a million tabs open. Let me close some of these tabs so my program can, because I'm chewing up all my data here. So let's close some of these other tabs. All right. So we can go ahead and boom. All right. Let's go ahead and get this in here so we can get this up and running. All right. So we're going to close that tab out altogether and bring it up again because I had too many tabs open. So there we go. Pull that up and get into the program and pull this over. Demo. Load the demo in. Okay. So there we are. And we're going to reset the account. And then I'm going to switch screens. All right. So once we reset the account, we're going to switch screens here. All right. Thank you, Miss Ashley. All right, folks, go ahead and keep sharing this information out to everybody so that we can get it in here. And I'm hoping we can get this thing done when I close out some of these screens so that we can share the new screen. All right. I'll give you a little pretty background there. So for some reason, I can't. My data is taking so long to load. Do I have anybody ask? Do I have any questions here in the chat? All right, Miss Ashley says everyone should know this. She's got that everywhere. She's got it in Clubhouse. She's got it on YouTube. If you are on YouTube right now, if you're on Clubhouse right now and you want to see what we're getting ready to do, go to YouTube so that you can actually see this. All right. So you know what? I need to bring up a different browser. All right, so let me do that. Let me bring up a different browser to get that done. And once we do that, we're going to be good to go. All right, I need to bring up Chrome. We need to run it on Chrome. And once we do that, we're going to be good. So where is... All right, and there we go. We're going to bring that up. And boom, boom, boom. Let's see here. There we go. Log in. All right. Oh, shoot, I'm doing the wrong thing. So let me get rid of that and pull this up, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, P.I.L.L method. And we need, there it is, back office. There it is. That's what we need. All right. And demo. Loading the demo in. And then we just need to reset it. All right. We're moving in there. Sorry. Technical difficulty. This is the wonders of live video. Okay. Sometimes it goes smooth. Sometimes it doesn't. But we know what to do about it. All right. So we're going to click this. And let me see here. Reset the account. There we go. That's what we needed. And when it's done, we're going to pull that over for you. Okay, there it is. Boom. All right. This is John and Rebecca Jones, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to show you what they are doing. Here are their accounts. So here's what we're dealing with. They have $500 in checking. They have $5,000 in savings. That's what they're working with. And here are their loans. They have an auto loan of $25,000 at 4%. They have $2,000 on a Visa. That's 21%. Look at this mortgage, $200,000 at 6%. At 6%, the bank wants from them, just on the mortgage alone, over $230,000 in interest on this loan, on a $200,000 mortgage. That makes it 115.838%. So let's take a look at these numbers up top. Already, the program has gone to work and says, if you follow the game plan here, John and Rebecca Jones, you're going to save $179,000 in interest. You don't have to pay this bank. $179,000 in interest you don't have to pay on the mortgage, on your credit cards, on your car loan. You don't have to pay that more. And because you're saving so much interest, you don't need more money. Because when you make a payment, too much of your money goes to interest. So we're going to show you how to give the money back that you owe in a way that it makes it impossible for the bank to charge you interest. We're using smart technology here. Does anybody want to know how to give the bank back the money they borrowed and make it impossible for your bank to charge you interest on that money? Put a number 9 in the chat or online right now if you want to know how you can make it impossible for the bank to charge you interest on a certain amount of money. Zoe says she doesn't put just one 9 in. She puts several 9s in. What can we do to make sure the bank cannot charge us interest? Right? Because I showed you every month how the bank is charging you interest. Okay. So let's see how we can do that. So the first thing you have to do is track your spending. Here is their budget that we're working with. John gets paid $950 biweekly. Rebecca gets paid $700 weekly. They have a total of $5,000. So they're not rich. See, you don't have to make a lot of money to make this work. So when people say you have to have a lot of money, that's not true. You just need to know how to manage your money to pay less interest. And we're going to break that down for you. All right. So now they make $5,000, but when you add up all of their bills, it comes to $3,760.39 on average, which leaves them about $1,300 left over. Now they have a lifestyle budget where they're saying, I'm taking money out every single month and we're just spending it on us. Yeah. They're spending money on they call it, here's what they call it, the unitemized budget. The unitemized budget, $1,300 a month. $1,300 a month. You might think that's a lot of money. $1,300 just to spend on the family monthly to create memories for the family. You might think that's a lot. Okay? But they can still do that and save $179,000. They can live well while they're getting out of debt. Who wants to live well while you're getting out of debt? Or do you want to do what the guy in Tennessee talks about, can't go anywhere, can't do anything, got to drive a beater, a 30-year-old car, got to cut up your credit cards, got to eat beans and rice 7 days a week, and you got to cut, who wants to live like that? Who wants to live like that? Or would you like to live well and get out of debt and increase your savings along the way? How would you like to do that? All right. Zoe says, I want to live well. I want to live well. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to count the money. We're going to track what we're spending. So when John and Rebecca do this thing, look at this. Oh, they're going to tell the program here, John gets paid $950. He's going to click that, tell the program how much he's making, and then click execute. It is that simple. It will disappear from the screen. And once it disappears from the screen, then we can actually take a look at over here. His virtual bank account has $1,450 in it. So John and Rebecca have $1,450 in their virtual bank account because this matches exactly what they have at their real bank account at, Regions, Redstone, Chase, whatever your banking institution is. We want to mirror what you have in the bank so the program can know what to do. So they have $1,450. They still have $5,000 in interest here. So let's take a look at what we've got going on. So we're going to go back to the action plan. And now, do they have enough money to pay the mortgage in their checking account? They most certainly do. So when they pay their mortgage, all right, online, that's going to subtract $1,199.10 from their real bank account. So we must also subtract the same amount of money to the penny from their virtual bank account. And you see how it's gone? But when we go in here, we can see they still have their $5,000 in savings, but they have $250.90 in their checking account. All right. So now we're going to go back to the action plan and say, oh, now the utilities is $200. All right. So if we pay the utilities, that's going to subtract that. And then on the second, but on the third, guess what? Rebecca gets paid $700. So $700 goes back in to the bank account. So we'll tell the program that the program has another $700. Then the program goes to work. You see these little arrows here, the red and blue arrows? The program says, based on what we see here, your bills for the month, how much money you spend on food and dining, your Visa payment, your auto loan payment, and your unitemized budget payment, paying your cell phone and everything else. After you pay all of your bills, the program has said, based on that, there's $100 in your checking account right now you don't need for anything else because you've told us what you need to spend. So the program says, take money out of your checking account and put it in your savings account. It tells you even what day to do it on. Put it in your savings account, $100.90. We're building up the savings account. You don't need that money for anything else. So Don, how do we have fun? Well, your fund budget is already in the program. We're not touching your fund money. This is after fund money. After fund money, we can still put money away? Yes, we can. All right, because all we have to do is do the math. The problem with most of us, with some of us, I should say, some of us, after all the bills are paid, some of us may continue to spend. So it feels like paycheck to paycheck. We're really not paying attention. We're making good money, so we're not tracking it. Do you know I have people in Hollywood that work with me? Yeah, I got people in Hollywood that work with me. They make so much money. Guess what they're not doing? They're not tracking it. They have no idea how much they're making per month. They have no idea how much they're spending per month. They saw the show, contacted me. I'm helping them to manage that so that they can keep more of their money, so they can track their money. This is the key. Track the money. So now you got $100.90, pay the phone bill, get another paycheck. Now we're going to put $588.72 in the savings account. All right. But as far as the payments go on the debt, we paid the minimum payment on the mortgage. We're going to pay the minimum payment on the Visa this month. And we're going to pay the minimum payment on the auto loan this month. Okay. We're starting in May. So if we do that, all right, well, we're saving up some money. Well, let's take a look at June. What does it say for June? Pay the mortgage, get a paycheck, pay the utilities, put $350 away, pay the phone bill, put $700 away. Oh, we're still paying the minimum payment on the mortgage. We're still paying the minimum payment on the auto loan. When is the program going to put money on debt if we're just saving up the cash? Okay, let me show you something here. John and Rebecca Jones, I'm going to show you the payoff date. Remember, I told you can know the month, day, and year you can be debt free. Look at this. On January 10, 2031, they will be debt free. The month, day, and year if they just follow this program like Financial GPS. Okay, that's 7.7 years from now. But I could also change this to next debt transfer as the program saves up money. Now, this is the genius part of this whole thing, if I do say so myself. We're not telling you to take $500 out of your budget every month and throw it at the debt, or $1,000 every month and throw it at the debt that month. Because who can do that every single month? If you have a spreadsheet and you go online and it says, okay, you tell us how much, $100, $200, $300 you want to put on the debt every month. And then we'll tell you when you're going to be out of debt. That's not the way to do it, because as soon as life gets in the way, you're not going to put anything on debt that month. Okay. Hot water heater breaks. You got to fix it. You're not going to feel like putting any extra money on anything because you're going to feel deflated because you had to fix the hot water heater, or 2 flat tires, or you had to fly across country unexpectedly and the ticket cost you $2,000. You're not going to want to, you don't feel like doing anything extra that month. So this is why the program says, whatever you have left, put it in savings and we'll use that. When it hits a certain point, then we'll attack the debt. So the program says, starting in May, if you do this thing right, if you're following the program, you should have about $3,120 in savings that you could take out of savings. That's after you pay the bills and after your fund budget. You should still have about $3,000 in savings we can attack the debt with. So let's go down to July and see what happens. And I'll show you why this is smart technology. Because in July, the program says, take money out of savings and pay it to the Visa. $2,000, we're going to pay the Visa off in one lump sum. When we do that this month, we're going to save $1,736.34 in interest we never have to pay. If you pay the Visa monthly until it's paid, you're going to pay an additional $1,700 in interest, and now you don't have to pay that. See? So now the program says we're going to take the rest of that money. Now, this may seem a little strange. We're going to take the rest of that money, $1,116.98. We're going to put it into on the mortgage principal, because we paid the mortgage payment on the 1st of the month. We're waiting 6 days, and on the 7th of July, it says, take that extra money, $1,116.98, and apply it to the mortgage. And let me make this just a little bit bigger if I can. All right. There we go. $5,435.91 in interest savings. So why does the program say stop at 98 cents when you could round that up to the next dollar, or $100 or $1,116? You could easily make it $1,200, because we've got about, at this point, we'll have between $5,000 and $8,000 in the bank, in the savings account. Why don't we take out more money out of the savings to place it on the debt? Because we're optimizing the use of every dollar. When you're optimizing, you want to put in the least amount of effort to get maximum benefit. The least amount of effort to get maximum benefit. The least amount of money so you can save the most in interest per dollar. Can I show you what I mean by that? How the program is saying, let's maximize the use of your money. When you put this money on here, this $1,116.98, when you add that to principal, do you realize it makes it impossible for the bank to charge you interest? So that you can understand what I'm talking about, listen to this. If you were to pay your mortgage on time every month until you paid it down by $1,116.98, the way they do their timing, you would also have to pay $5,435.91 in interest to pay your mortgage down by 11/16/98. But because you took money out of the savings account after you paid the mortgage that month and you applied an additional $1,116.98 to principal, you've just made it impossible for the bank to charge you $5,400 in interest on that new equity you've just created. How to give the bank back their money and make it impossible for them to charge you interest, because they want you to pay once a month, until you pay down $1,100 so that we can charge you $5,435.91 in interest, because you're doing it every month and gives us a chance monthly to charge you. But when you give it to us early, doggone it, we just lost $5,400. The bank just lost $5,400 by you giving them that. Do you see what I'm talking about now? By making it impossible for them to charge you that interest. Now, why 11/16/98? Okay, I want to show you. I'm going to put that on the screen. Remember when I talked about we want to save interest per dollar? So if I take the $5,435.91, if I take that and divide it by what I'm paying towards principal, $1,116.98. That tells me I'm going to save $4.866. That's $4.87 per dollar. Every dollar I put on principal here means that it makes it impossible for the bank to charge me $4.87 in interest for every dollar. But the program says put $1,116.98 on it. Why stop there? Because this is the most I can save per dollar with this amount. This is optimized. This is maximum savings per dollar. You put any more on, you start to violate the law of diminished return, meaning more does not mean better at a certain point. At a certain point, more stops meaning better. It starts to mean worse. Okay? So look up the law of diminished return and see what it says. The law of diminished return. The law of diminished return. Look at that. So let's take a look at, let's look it up. Okay. Going to go to Google. The law of diminishing returns. Look at that. The law of diminishing returns. Let's see what it says. The principle of stating that the profits or benefits gained from something will represent a proportionality smaller gain as more money or energy is invested in it. You see what? Do you see this graph? As you put more in, you get a better result a better result. If you keep putting more in, the result goes down. So the smaller gain as more money or energy is invested in it. And we're not taught that when it comes to paying off debt. Anytime you lose money, the bank picks up what you're losing. So you want to put the smallest amount on that's going to give you the greatest savings per dollar. So does this begin to make sense? So you don't violate the law of diminishing returns? Let's get back here. So now I'm at I could save $4.87 per dollar. So what if I wanted to do this? Because I have more money in the bank. What if I wanted to do this? I'm going to take this and change it to $1,500. Okay. The program is going to instantly tell me I can save $7,259.78. Remember, we want to, all of our money that we have, we don't want to put money on debt every single month. That's a waste of your money. Stop it. Stop putting extra on every month. Figure out what is the right time, the right month, the right day of the month, and the right amount of money to put on your debt so you can maximize your interest savings. So before I show you this, before some of you can get away, I want you to know this. We guarantee here at the P.I.L.L Method, by using our system, you will save more money in interest than any other program on the planet. We guarantee it in writing. Anybody beats us, we'll pay you back. Nobody beats us because we're the only ones that focus on interest savings. So here's what I mean. Once you figure out you can save the maximum amount of interest, and you have, let's say you have two families that's using the P.I.L.L Method and another family that's exactly the same financially, they're using the debt snowball or the avalanche method or one of these other methods, okay? Spreadsheet or whatever. On average, the family using the P.I.L.L Method and optimization strategy will save $50,000 to $70,000 more in interest than the family that does not use the computer, that doesn't use smart technology. $50,000 to $70,000 more than they need to pay. They're saving time and they're saving interest. But what good is that when you find out you could have saved $70,000 or more? So people tell me all the time, Don, I didn't need a computer. I didn't need this fancy stuff. And we paid off our mortgage in 9 or 10 years. We paid it off. But I'm going to ask, how much interest did you pay in paying off your mortgage? They're going to say, I don't know. Then if you don't know, what if you could have saved $50,000 more? What if you could have paid $50,000 less to achieve the same goal? So, well, we didn't think about that. We're just trying to get out of debt. Folks, you have to think about what's causing the long-term debt is the interest cost on the loans. So even though you paid it off faster, the bank has got us so focused on paying off the principal, we don't even think about why they are in business. Why are they in business? To collect interest payments from us. Collect as much as they can for as long as they can. Our job is to pay them the least amount of interest. The best loan possible is 0% interest forever. Those are the best loans. I don't have to pay any interest at all. The next best loan is to pay as little interest as mathematically possible for you. The only way that gets done is to use the AI computing system that we put together so that you will know exactly how much to pay and when to save that money. So let me show you what happens if we do the 7,000. So we had 4.866. So let's clear this out, put in the 7,250 $259.78. There we go. And we're going to divide it by 1,500. Remember, putting more in, did you see the graph I just had up? Putting more in, you don't get the same result. You get a worse result. Look here, 4.839. You're saving less per dollar when you put more in at the wrong time. So why does that matter? Why does that matter? Because when you put too much money into, listen to this now, when you put too much money into debt elimination, you're only going to be able to maximize the amount of interest that you saved per dollar at a certain point. If you put more in, then you're going to save less per dollar. When you put more in, that means you can't also invest that money somewhere else, into a mutual fund, into your whole life insurance policy, into something that's going to build wealth. You want to come up with the right amount of money to put towards debt so you can maximize your interest savings, but don't put any more than that on. Take the rest of that money, if you have it, and put it in something that's going to create wealth for you. You want to do both at the same time. Do not miss out on the monies you can make with your money while you're so focused on getting out of debt. Tunnel vision does us no good. When you work with the P.I.L.L method, not only do you get the superior technology, but you get financial coaching that goes along with it to keep you on the straight and narrow. So you're making money and saving money at the same time. There's no other program like it in the world. So now let me show you what would happen if I decide, you know what? I don't know anything about the diminishing returns. I don't know anything about it at all. I want to pay $1,500 on this. Okay, $1,500. And then I'm going to save $7,000. I don't even know how much money I'm saving. I'm just going to put $1,500. Do you see where it says $179,543 over here? That's how much money, that's how much interest John and Rebecca can save if they follow the program. That's how much interest they can save if they follow the program. But what happens if they don't follow the program? I got plenty of money in the bank now. Why should I wait to make the mortgage payment, then wait 6 days? Waiting means the loan just got more expensive. So why don't I do this? I'm going to pay it on the first when I put the mortgage. When I pay the mortgage, I'm going to pay the mortgage, and I'm going to add the $1,500 to it. Watch $179,000. I just saw somebody new come into the room. If you want to see these numbers, we're on YouTube. Search P.I.L.L method. Search P.I.L.L method on YouTube on a different device, and you can see these numbers. All right. Watch when I execute this. All right. I'm going to execute that, and we'll go from 179,543 down to 179,506. So it seems as though, no, it is. We're actually saving less money overall because we put more money into debt reduction when we should have been putting some money into wealth creation. We're saving less money overall. We're hurting ourselves twice by putting too much money into debt reduction. So Armin Dalikian says here on watching us on YouTube, he says, seems wasteful to keep the extra money in a savings account drawing no interest though. Yeah. But what are you going to do, Armin? You got to keep it somewhere. All right. But see, when you talk about the amount of money that you could keep in savings, even if it's at let's say it's a high rate of return. So let's say if it's at a high rate of return, it seems wasteful, but I want to show you something. Okay. Let's go back. I'm going to put on an amortization schedule now. Okay. Let's put on an amortization schedule, and I'll show you something here, Armin, since you brought that up. Okay. So we're going to go to Brett Whistle. All right. Brett Whistle amortization. And we're going to put in our $500,000 mortgage again, make this just a little bit bigger. so you guys can see it. We're going to put in our $500,000 mortgage. Okay. At we were at 7% before. All right. And then we're going to put that in. Okay. So now let's say the program told us to put in an extra, $3,000 or so on this mortgage. Okay. So we've saved up some money. We saved up some money to put on the mortgage, but we saved it in a savings account, making, let's say it is a money market that's making 4.5% a year, 4.5% a year. Even if you had $30,000 in it, 4.5% a year, it's just a little over $1,200, I think, in interest. All right. So even if we keep it in there like 3 months, the interest that we could make is negligible. So we're going to keep it in there, but and pay it towards the debt when we can save a little bit more money. So let me show you what happens on this loan. Cumulative principal here. Let's just do 5,000. Let's just make it easy. We're going to save up 5,000 and we're going to put it in our save it up and then put it on the loan. Let's just say this is the amount that the computer comes up with. Do you realize that saves us 31,000? That's this line here, 31,000, not 949.52. So let me pull this up. So 31,000. This is key here. 31,949 in interest savings, 0.52. All right. And we're going to divide it by what we're prepaying. $5,079 and a penny. Look at this. You move the decimal place, Armin, 2 places. That's 629% return on your money. I don't care what money I'm missing out on. When I can get a 629% return on my money by paying the right amount of money at the right time. I need to look at not what I can see. I need to look at what I can't see because I've been taught not to look at it. I've been taught to overlook the fact that I can put this money here and make a 629% return on my money. So real estate investors. I had a real estate investor tell me this the other day in the mortgage syndicate. If you are on Clubhouse, you know what the mortgage syndicate is. It says, now, why would I take that money out when I can make 16% cash on cash return by investing it in real estate? When you do that, ladies and gentlemen, when you focus on taking money only and putting it into getting a 16% return, you're not looking at what you could have saved if you put that money towards principal and saved interest. You're only looking at one side of the equation. You're only looking at what you can make, but you don't have anything to compare it to. When you're doing an opportunity cost calculation, you have to know what you're making. And this is what the real estate investors are doing. They're looking at what I could make long-term 16%. But they're not calculating at all how much interest they could save by putting that money on principal and saving interest, because we're taught to ignore that altogether. Here's what they're thinking. Okay, here's what they're thinking. I'm going to show you. Real estate investors, I can make 16% cash on cash return over here. I can only save 7% over here. If I put the money over here, they're thinking I'm only going to save 7. Why save 7 when I can make 16? Do you see what happens? They're looking at the 7 and thinking it really means 7, when actually it means 139.5%. Okay? Don't get fooled by that. Do the numbers. If you know how much you're saving, 31,000, and know on the other side of the equation how much you're making if you invest that money, now you can make the proper decision on what you should do with your money. And what we should do, folks, is maximize the use of our money. Find out how much you can save and find out how much you can make and do both. It's not either or, it's both and. So if we use technology, turn our mortgage into a smart mortgage, use coaching from the P.I.L.L method, you can also figure out for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, how much interest you can save. Boom, 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 $179,000 in interest. And if John and Rebecca Jones if they had a new 30-year loan, they would not be out of debt until 2053. They're saving $179,000 in interest over here. Watch what happens. They're saving, all right? They're saving, watch this. We're going to go into reports. We're not only looking at what we're saving, we can grow our net worth. We're going to look at wealth accumulation. The program does all of this. And by 2053, when they would normally be out of debt, this is when the bank wants them to be out of debt. They can save $179,000 in interest they don't have to pay. Plus, they could take the money that they didn't spend and invest it and still have an extra $853,000 in their investment, while their counterparts in their same neighborhood, they're just paying off their loans, if they're lucky. If they didn't refinance 3 times, like most people do, and keep adding 5 to 7 years on every time they refinance. Let's say they didn't refinance and paid it off in 30 years. They have $0 saved up extra from the monies they saved on interest. They do have their 401k, they do have their stocks, they do have all the other investments with their job. All right, they do have that. But what I'm talking about, you can have that and an additional $853,000, like John and Rebecca Jones here, from interest you did not pay the bank. You can add to that. And this $853,000, that's not even the best part, ladies and gentlemen. The best part is this is at only a 1% return. What if they could average 7 to 9% return like the rest of their investments? That would be well over $1 million, well over $1 million added to what they're already doing because they didn't spend the money on interest. That's what opportunity cost is all about. Opportunity cost. I'm putting it in here. Opportunity cost. We're going to look it up. Opportunity cost. What does opportunity cost mean? The loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. When you choose one alternative, but you don't look at the other alternative to see if you lost or gained money, you don't know. You've got to look at everything. And folks, there is just too much going on. There's thousands of calculations here. It's just too much going on without plugging it into an AI system that does all the math for you and guides you like financial GPS. There's only program like it. Why do we have so much technology everywhere? But when it comes to our money, we're taught that analog is good enough. Doing it this way, this is the flip phone of, of finance. Analog is the flip phone of finance. You're not even using the smartphone. Okay? Get smart with your money. Plug it into a computer, save money, and also make money. Maximize the use of your money. make it impossible for the bank to charge you interest. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here for today, but we're going to be right back here on Sunday. We'll be right back here on Sunday with another new idea to share with you. Stop giving the money to the bank. Use your money to invest in yourselves. So I'm going to take one last look here on Clubhouse to see if there's anybody who wants to come to the stage. All right. And that's it. So we're all done for today. We're going to be back here. Get your savings and earnings report. Okay. Go to ice10k.com. Get your savings and earnings report. Also, when you go to ice10k.com to get your savings and earnings report so that you can know the month, day, and year you can be debt free and how much interest you can save. And then we'll show you the interest savings and how much money that money can earn for your business or your family by not giving it to the bank. We're going to show you the savings and the earnings. It's going to be fantastic. Also, get my book so that I can start explaining to you and your children and your nieces and nephews and your grandchildren how we should be looking at money and break the yoke that the banks have on us by keeping us in the dark as to how these loans actually work. We need to break out of that. Okay. So get the book. All right. Go to ice10k.com and get the book today. Also, last thing, become an affiliate. Go to ice10k.com. It takes about 15 seconds to become an affiliate. It's absolutely free. And Sharon N. Jones did it. It got absolutely free to her. And already by sharing this with just 2 people, she just made $600. $600, just like that. By sharing this with, what would even $300 extra a month mean to you? Just $300 extra a month by sharing one person with us, and we pay you $300. What if you shared with us 2 and got $700? 2 people a month means $700 extra a month coming to you because you like this information and other people need to know. I don't know everybody. So help us out. Help your friends out. Help your family out. Share this information with them. Point them to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like the videos on the YouTube channel. And also and share the videos on the YouTube channel to other people so that they can see what you're seeing today. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to cut out of here, but the last word we're going to give to Dr. Eric Thomas before we go. So remember, I'll see you back here on Sunday. Thank you very much for your time and attention, whether it is live or you're watching the replay. Thank you so very much. Let's hear from Dr. Eric Thomas, and I'll see you guys on Sunday.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.